Fun Friday Lives. I sold almost all of them. I think I sold all but 4 or 5. So those were my big sellers, as is my cards. All right, well, it is 3:01, so we'll go ahead and get started. Today we are going to be making a treat box, and so far you guys have seen them when I've done them. They've been in Christmas theme, but I thought I'd switch it up a bit today. And this is more of a spring theme, using a Daffodil Delight, and paper is from the Delightfully Eclectic DSP in the annual catalog. And hi Kathy, how are you today? Thank you for joining us. So anyway, this is the treat box we're going to be doing, and I cased it from a gal in my Love to Stamp group. Her name is Ann Curlin, and I'm very appreciative. She shared this with us a couple months back, and I just fell in love with it, so I thought I'd have to share it with you guys today. So, like I said, we're going to be doing this. We're going to use Daffodil Delight, and we're going to use DSP from the Delightfully Eclectic from the annual catalog. We're going to be using from the December mini catalog, So Sincere. It's on page 47. And then we're also going to be using either, you have a choice, whichever is easier, what you have access to. We can use the handmade tag to create the thumb holes that are in our box, or you can use the smallest circle in the Stylist Shapes dies, whichever is easiest for you. I've used both. And to be perfectly honest, when I was making a large number of them, I was using a very old, retired circle punch, I think it was a 1/2-inch circle punch from Stampin' Up. And then the ink we're going to be using is crushed curry. So why don't we go ahead and get started. So I will take our cardstock, and it is going to be 6.5 by 5.5. And we're going to score it on both sides. On the 5.5 side, actually, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take the cutting blade out so I don't accidentally cut my paper. Done that before. And on the 5.5 side, we're going to score it 1 3/4. And because this is a lighter paper, I want to push a little bit harder so I can see the score lines. And at 2.5, let's see, I'll bring this down so you guys can see a little bit better. And then at 4 1/4, it's right there. And again, the last one on this side is 5 and nope, it is 5. Was reading the wrong line of my instructions that I have posted for me to read. All right, then on the 6.5-inch side, we're going to go ahead and score it at 3/4 and 1.5. Then at 5, and 5 3/4. All right, and then I'm done with my scoring. Before I put my cutting and scoring board away, I'm going to ask you guys for some help. We can use the Daisy side of this DSP, or we can use the side that has the citrus on it. Which one would you like to use? Why don't you guys vote? And then I'll cut the DSP. And the DSP, when we cut it, is supposed to be at 3 3/8 by 1 5/8. And I believe this is already 1 5/8. Yep, it's 1 5/8. So we'll go 3 3/8. I think, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and go with, it looks like the citrus side. So let's see, we'll go 3 3/8. 3, 1, 2, 3/8. Oh, and I need the cutting blade on this. All right. So there is our DSP for our project. So now we're going to cut the sections out, and what I have done is I will post the instructions for this on this post when it goes for you guys to watch it, not live, but when you want to go back and watch it. And it has all the information you need as to what lines are solid that you cut on and what lines are dotted, so that you know what you're going to be folding and scolding. Not scolding, scoring, sorry. It's a Friday afternoon. So what we're going to do is we're going to start on the 6.5 inch side, but the wider end, where we have, I think it's a 1 3/4 inch panel. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut along the score line, the second rectangle down. You're going to cut all the way down there, and then cut all the way to the next score line, so you take out that piece right there. All right, and then we'll do the same thing on this side. And you're just cutting right along those score lines. And then after we do our cutting, this will be the side that we put our little, I think they call them thumb tabs or something like that, for the box. So now we've got 2 smaller squares here. We're going to cut across the score line and then cut the top square off. And then cut down to the next score line so that you create a tab. Then we're going to skip this center rectangle because those are our tabs that fold into the box. And we're going to cut down on the third score line over, go all the way down to the second score line. So it's 1 score line, 2 lines, 3 lines. So that's when you're going to cut down. You're going to cut all the way to the second score line on that side. And then we're going to go all the way down on that 4th score line. And we're going to cut along the small one here. So we take that small rectangle out, and then we're going to cut along this upper score line so we have another tab. All right, we're going to turn this around, and we're going to cut this square out. And then cut along that score line to the bottom to create a tab. Then we're going to go ahead and cut, and I tend to cut all the way down to the second score line because I'm going to have to cut that one anyway. And then cut to the second score line again. Cut that rectangle out. And then cut that square out. And now we've got our tabs. So now that we've got all the main parts cut, what we're going to do is we're going to miter the edges so that they aren't as bulky when we fold them in to create the box. And what that means is you're just going to go from the bottom and you're going to cut at a slight angle to create a small, like a mini triangle. So it's cutting it at an edge. You're going to make it at an angle. We're going to do that for each of these small tabs. And when you cut it, don't pull down, just pull straight out. Otherwise it could rip it. So see, this didn't come all the way off, so I'm just going to pull out. All right. So did you have a good week, Kathy, since we're on Friday already? All right. And then we go. Now we've got all of our tabs mitered. And we're going to have this small panel here, and it is approximately a half an inch. And what we're going to do is we're going to miter that just a little bit by cutting the, I think it's on the 6.5 inch side, and we're going to cut at an angle at the bottom. All right. And there we are. We have everything cut that we need to. We're going to go ahead and burnish all our edges. I tend to fold in on the dips or the depressions of where we've scored. So they fold a little bit easier. Burnish all of these edges. All right, here we go. I'm really liking these spring colors. Maybe it's because I've done so many Christmas items for craft fairs that there's a part of me that's ready to move on to spring a little bit. All right, before we adhere this into creating in a box, we need to create the tabs here. Now, like I said, you can use the small circle in the die cut, this one, and you could die cut it out like this. Oop, it moved. Or I discovered you take the handmade tab punch, and we're going to push the paper down so it reaches the top here, and we're going to create that little tab. And you want to hold the tab down there, because if you go in, you can see part of that tab here, and it's going to get cut. So you want to fold it down, and then you can put it in, and you can see where you bring the paper right up to the edge and give it a clap, and then we got our thumb hold or thumb tab. So let's do it on the other side. I'm holding my tab down. Sorry, I can't talk and concentrate at the same time. Sometimes multitasking is difficult. All right, but now we've got our two thumb tabs, so perfect. So let's move these scraps aside. And let's go ahead and take our tear and tape. And what you're going to do is you're going to apply the tear and tape to the very upper edge of the half-inch panel that we mitered. So let me get this. I'll get my little straight edge so I can get a straight tear on this. There we go. And I'm going to burnish the tear and tape down and get my take-a-pick tool. Now, sometimes with boxes, you can fold things over and you can line up like this and they totally fall into place. This one, because edges are mitered, I found it was a little more difficult, so I go ahead and I keep it up like this, and I match. Let me see if I can hold this up a little bit closer. I match the edges as so. All right, so now we've got, let's see, oh, there we go. Sorry, it's out of the screen. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and fold our 2 tabs in and fold in one side of the box. Actually, I forgot to do something. These top 2 rectangles, the 2 outer rectangles, you're going to miter them, but ever so slightly. Not as much as you mitered the other tabs. Because if you miter them too much, see how little I took off? If you miter them too much, then the boxes don't stay closed. But if you don't miter them, then they get caught on the folds inside. All right, so let's go ahead and miter this side as well. And there we go. So we'll fold this, and there we've got our box. Now we're going to decorate our box. Went ahead and went with the citrus side. I thought that would be cute. So we're going to go ahead and attach that. Hi, Patty. How are you? No worries. You've got a busy day. All right. I'm going to go ahead and attach this. I want the citrus on the top of the side of the box. So here's the top, here's the bottom of the box. And we'll just go ahead and put down there. And let's see, where's my, with the magic of TV, as my friend Tammy and Marcy would say, I have a white circle. It's actually the second smallest of the stylish dies. Not stylish shapes, I mean. The circle. And I'm going to use the Just For You stamp sentiment from the So Sincere and Crushed Curry. So tap ever so slightly and try and center it. There we go. Oh, I got a little ink there. So I'm going to flip it over. Like they said, it's great that these have paper has 2 sides. So we're going to try it again. Oh, perfect. All right. Put that away. And we'll just go ahead and glue this on. And this one, I didn't do it with the daisy side because the daisy, I didn't want to cover up too many of the daisies, but this would be a perfect time to use one of the other stylish shape circles that's a little bit bigger and cut it out in the crushed curry as well, and then layer this on there so that it pops a little bit even more against the pinks that we have in our DSP. So there is our box. And Just For You can be a little gift. And we open it, and you can fit a number of things in here. You can fit the fun size candy bars. You can fit, you could probably fit like some of those Bischoff cookies that are single, individually packed. You can fit 2 York peppermint patties. You could probably fit a couple of chopsticks in here if you wanted to. Thank you, Kathy. It is a cute box. Like I said, Ann Curlin from our group introduced this to us in a post. I can't remember what it was about. And I just fell in love with it. And I'm like, playing with it, and I found it was such an easy box to create that I couldn't help it. I just made lots of these. Matter of fact, let me show you some of the other ones I made for Christmas. This is using our Berry Christmas DSP. And then this is using our, I think it was Merry Bold and Bright DSP, which I'm using in a class I have coming up on December 7th. So anyway, I just want to share those with you. I appreciate you joining. As soon as I get off here, I will go ahead and put the link for the directions to the making of this box, and I appreciate you guys joining us. And have a great Friday, and have a great 3-day weekend. You're welcome, Kathy. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. All right, you guys have a great weekend. Bye-bye.